Okay, so the next one, I love the name of this. I'm assuming the person who created this is named Wayne Cook.
Yes, and the science of it and the logic of how these points and how you're holding them fits together was Wayne Cook. And I don't know the details of how Donna Eden learned that, worked with him, however, but she has named this movement after him. Okay.
Okay. So what this does is it helps focus your mind and allows you to untangle that stuff, that inner chaos, and see a better perspective. How awesome is that? And think more clearly and learn more proficiently. So show us.
Okay, this one you do sit down to do. And so I'm just gonna have to move my camera here a minute so that you can see because
Oh,
like you have your hands and feet in a different way in order to be able to do this. So
okay.
okay, so this is again you can cross over your leg. Now some people may have a hard time with it. I had actually a while ago hurt my leg, and so being able to lift this one leg up was challenging. So you just again do the best you can. It can be wherever, but you basically want to take your opposite hand to the opposite ankle. You're putting your hand on your ankle. Then you're taking your other hand and sort of wrapping it around the top of your foot. Again, whatever is convenient. You can go. I have my palm over my toes, and then my fingers wrapped around the back. You can do it the other way if that's easier for you to put your palm on the bottoms of your feet and then over the top. Whatever is comfortable. And then what you're doing when you breathe, you're basically breathing and pulling everything up. So you're breathing up and then letting it down. And we do this 5 times on each side. And then I'm going to just tell you more about the benefit of it. But we can go one, two. And the key is your hands are crossed here. Three, four, five. And then you switch legs and sides. So I'm going to put my opposite ankle over my knee. I'm going to put opposite hand over the ankle, crossing it over to the other side. Now this one, and when I go this side, it's actually easier for me to put my fingers underneath my the tops of my feet and then wrap around on the top with my hands. And then you're going to just get breathe up and breathe in 5 times. You're just kind of strengthening your body and your core almost and kind of pulling up. And again, just do this to whatever makes sense. You maybe have to sit on the ground sometimes and sort of barely touch it, but just visualize it. It can
Oh,
be a
that's a
great
good
way to
idea
start. Can be a great way to
to
start. A lot of
visualize.
people, do have a harder time getting their leg up here and doing this. And so, but you can get the benefit by it's like realizing, what's going on and just getting as close as you can and visualizing kind of doing that, pulling and pulling up. There's one extra piece to this. My teacher called it the cosmic chicken, and it makes me laugh because you're putting your fingers together, your thumbs together, and then you're putting them right in the center between your eyebrows. It's called your third eye. And what that is, and you're taking a couple breaths there, that is your corpus callosum is your kind of your two halves of your hemisphere run along this line here.
Oh,
And so this is a very brain connecting exercise. And so it is saying, okay, pull it all together, get your brain kind of flowing and connected. And so you just take a couple
cool.
breaths right in that cosmic chicken position.
Wow. There's a lot to that one.
There is a lot to that one. And I'll just tell you the one thing that when my teacher was teaching this is sometimes we have like when we're reading across a page, it might be kind of choppy and it doesn't flow when you're reading because there's
Mhm.
just some choppiness in what your eyes are seeing and how your brain is interpreting it. Doing this exercise, if you're kind of noticing or no, maybe this is something that kind of happened to you a long time, it makes it hard to read really and read and absorb. But if you do this exercise, get it kind of where you're doing it for, a couple weeks, you will clearly notice the difference in how you can read, how you can think, and how you can absorb information.
Interesting.
It is fascinating. And so that's a lot of the science behind why it's called the Wayne Cook. It's how those communication and interpretations are going on in your head and how these different techniques clean that up.
Cool.
One thing is, and if I had, someone here I was doing this with, you can test basically if that's an issue and where, things feel kind of scattered in your head and not flowing well. And you have them do this and they can feel the difference quite immediately. So it may not take even 10 days, it may take one or two doing
It's
this.
amazing how fast it works.
Yes.
How
And
fast.
so the one example of this is, if you are going and saying where you're meeting with somebody, you're going into a meeting where you're just not feeling very confident, you're not feeling very clear in your head about what you want to say. I would sit under when I was in my, an engineering job at Hewlett Packard. I would sit in my cubicle and I would do this exercise before I went into a meeting, and it changed truly how I showed up in that meeting and my ability to speak clearly, my ability to think clearly. Yeah, I would just do this just before I went in. It's like, okay, I'm ready. And it happens that fast. So I would recommend just practicing this one and utilizing it when you have things where you have to present yourself or you have to be presenting something and you're nervous about the interaction, whatever. And just allow that to get your brain clear and flowing. So this is an awesome one, even though it feels a little weird to do it to start. So awesome.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. And this is one that I would have my kids do as well because it's like, I know this is weird, but man, it makes a difference when you're taking your tests, when you're studying, when you're
Yep.
receiving information. It's just all of it just is like so much easier.